I'm Jakari Jackson with an InfoWars News Bulletin. Now, it has come to our attention here at Infowars.com that President Obama, during a speech in Mexico, has admitted that Operation Fast and Furious under his jurisdiction is responsible for the gun violence in Mexico.
And we also recognize that most of the guns used to commit violence here in Mexico come from the United States.
Fast and Furious was not the only secret gun-walking operation.
The ATF knew before I knew. They knew the guns were going to cartels, and they wanted them to go to cartels.
ATF allowed a total of 3,500 weapons to fall into the wrong hands. A potential disaster.
And it goes much deeper than that. Here are admissions by people in his own administration admitting that they knew about the program.
DOJ's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is increasing its efforts by adding 37 new employees in 3 new offices, using $10 million in Recovery Act funds, and redeploying 100 personnel to the southwest border in the next 45 days to fortify its Project Gunrunner, which is aimed at disrupting arms trafficking between the United States and Mexico. ATF is doubling its presence in Mexico itself, from 5 to 9 personnel working with the Mexicans specifically to facilitate gun tracing activity which targets the illegal weapons and their sources in the United States.
One of the things that has happened, one of the changes in the threat environment has been what is going on in Mexico.
How successful do you expect to be in this effort to clamp down on the trafficking of power going into Mexico?
Several things. One is, first of all, you've got to interdict the arms. You've got to stop them from going into Mexico. We're coordinating with Mexico because they can do more by way of southbound screening on their side of the border. But then the Department of Justice moving their agents down there, as David said, and increasing tracing. That will help us identify who is putting those arms into the arms, those guns into the arms of the traffickers moving south. And out of that, there can reasonably be seen more prosecution of actual arms dealers who are intentionally and knowingly putting arms into the hands of the smugglers.
And don't forget, back in 2011, CBS News released documents, memos, of how the ATF wanted to use Operation Fast and Furious to demonize the Second Amendment. And now all this has come full circle as we see President Obama admitting this himself.
And we also recognize that most of the guns used to commit violence here in Mexico come from the United States. I think many of you know that in America our Constitution guarantees our individual right to bear arms. And as President, I swore an oath to uphold that right, and I always will. But at the same time, as I've said in the United States, I will continue to do everything in my power to pass common sense reforms that keep guns out of the hands of criminals and dangerous people, that can save lives here in Mexico and back home in the United States. It's the right thing to do.
People will be held accountable for the mistakes that were made in Fast and Furious.
We see yet another, yes, I said another, false flag operation carried out by a government. And if you desire to learn more about false flags, go to the InfoWars shop and pick up a copy of Terror Storm. I'm Jakari Jackson, and this has been an InfoWars News Bulletin.